Welcome to Living East Tennessee. I'm here with Dr. Debra Durst. We're here at Revitalize MD, and we're talking all things romance versus reality, how to spice things up. This is such an important topic.
Yes. And doesn't this speak to a lot of people? Like, again, you think that you can do wine, or maybe somebody makes a drink, they put on something sexy or a special outfit, and then the romance happens. But in reality, it's somebody's tired, maybe even somebody's asleep, and again, something hurts, and it just doesn't happen. So it's not like the movies once you're into a relationship or once you get older. So I'm sure that everyone can identify with that.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of us are afraid to either A, talk about it because we don't want to think, well, something's wrong with me, or something's wrong with me, my partner isn't attracted to me, something along those lines. But there's so much more to it when it comes to creating those romantic moments still.
Oh yeah, no, I think you really have to be more intentional with it, because all relationships start with it's all heated and everything's, different at the beginning. But I think that it's not like the movies after, 5 years, 10 years. And so you have to spice it up. Yeah.
And from a medical standpoint, what are some of those factors that you commonly see people come in with when it comes to things in the bedroom, different things along those lines?
So I think one of the things that changes with time is desire. And so I think that it happens a lot more with women. I think men, again, it's probably the last thing to go with men and the first thing to go. So like you could have, even if we're looking at hormones, the hormones will be super low with the man by the time they ever reach the point where they have a low desire. But it happens earlier with women. And again, I think that there's some hormonal changes that happen there, but there's a thing called spontaneous versus responsive desire. And so a lot of times women, and only about 15% of women will actually report a spontaneous desire, where without any arousal that they are, wanting sex, and that isn't unusual. And so I think that gets worse as our hormones decline or as we hit perimenopause and menopause. So, but men, it's the opposite.
Really?
Most of theirs is spontaneous. So it's something to keep in mind though, because even though they feel like they're not in the mood, once that's initiated, then it changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And talking about that hormonal side of things, I mean, our bodies change so frequently as we get older. How do we know where to even start from that perspective?
Yeah, well, I feel like the hormones are almost like a silent partner in the bedroom, but they're a silent partner with us anyhow. So men and women will both change as we get older. They're different changes. And so women, it may be that they don't feel the same way, or the sensation isn't the same, arousal, orgasmic strength, all of that. But also then they also just don't feel like themselves, and that plays a part in that, sexual function. But men, again, it's different changes. And so I think having those conversations and not just assuming anything, opening conversations, spicing it up, making a date night. If there's changes, I think the important thing is those couples want to be on the same page. So if somebody's unhappy, the desire is mismatched, but it wasn't at the beginning, then that's probably something we have to address.
Absolutely.
Because it can't go unspoken.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we settle into things, and then we're afraid to open those conversations when there's changes that happen.
Absolutely. It can be very scary to be, I think, vulnerable with your partner in that way too. How would somebody kind of come to you with something like this? They experience like an issue. How would they be able to be treated?
So I think one of the things that we do really well is bringing couples back together. So if those conversations are hard to have, frequently it's one or the other that's coming to us first, but frequently they'll end up together. But I think that, again, just getting them on the same page and opening those conversations with somebody that can base it on something medical first, and then it really just opens the door for them to have the conversations after. So I think if they're not feeling like themselves, something's changed, they want to get answers, seeing a specialist, somebody that can actually look at hormones and look at the whole picture, is the next step. And that's what we do at Revitalize MD. We will meet with them, discuss things, and then proceed with blood work if we need to evaluate those hormones and get them back on the same page again.
Absolutely. And I can imagine just being able to do that is a huge relief off a couple. And I think you probably do a really great job at helping couples change the narrative when it comes to intimate times.
Yeah, I think that, again, people are just afraid to have those conversations, but it is something both partners are aware of. And so you have to open that conversation. But I would say that spicing things up, keeping it entertaining, don't let it get boring. And women tend to get bored quicker than men, quite frankly. And look at the one book that was written, the 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah.
I thought no women would read it, and then every woman was reading it. It didn't matter the age.
Yeah,
and so I thought they would be insulted by it, but in fact, it kind of spoke to the fact that women want a little spice. And so making a date night, keeping it exciting, I think that's what women want too.
Well, I'm sure you make people feel like they're not alone in these conversations and have a safe space to go to as well. Where can people contact you guys?
So you can actually give our office a call at Revitalize MD. You can actually even just go onto the website, and if you didn't want to have a conversation, you can actually just send a message to us. And I think, again, a lot of places, a lot of doctors' offices, your GYN and your primary, just don't want to have conversations about sex, but we're comfortable having conversations about sex. So I think if a couple is noticing changes, that's the next step.
That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us here
yeah,
today.
no, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. This one. I think so. Yeah. I think so.